What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. This happened probably about 5 or 6 days ago. I'm just now getting back. No, maybe 10 days ago. Desean Jackson, I think, he got a podcast. He was on his podcast. Or on Lou Will's podcast. I don't know who podcast it was. If they got a podcast together, I should have researched that better. Anyway, they were talking, I guess, about like basketball players being able to play in the NFL and vice versa, right? And so then Desean Jackson started talking about basically I can go on the court right now and I'm going to at least score a bucket or two on Jeff Teague, right? And he was making it seem like if Jeff Teague in the league, he could play in the NBA too. If Jeff Teague is the one in the league, right? And to me, that's way disrespectful, especially to use Jeff as an example of if he in the league, I can be in the league too. This is what happens, man. See, people didn't get used to Jeff and Jeff's personality. Jeff is real playful. He can be, self-deprecating at times. He can make fun of himself. He don't take himself seriously. He can talk about moments where he got, somebody got the best of him on the court or whatever. And I think people hear that and be like, oh, no, he ain't really like that. Because I'm going to be for real. He seems like somebody that's in your family, like a cousin. The way he comes across on this podcast, he seemed like a person you could run into every day or every other day, right? And familiarity breeds disrespect. That's what I say. Like, when a person is really inaccessible, when you don't hear from them much, I think people's respect for a player, you put it at the highest level. But the more they're accessible, the more they're, they're lighthearted, the more they are, I guess, around and about and visible on social media or in the media airspace or whatever. I think people start getting stuff twisted because Desean Jackson is no way on God's green earth he would ever be out battling and outdoing Jeff Teague on the basketball court in no way, shape, form, or capacity. Let me just remind y'all, man, Jeff Teague was a starter in the NBA for majority of his career, right? Like, you starting in the league, you got to be like that. This is some of the best. These are the best basketball players in the world. In the world, Craig. This is not no just rinky dink, no off-brand type dudes you just pick up. Like, no, Jeff was like that in high school, in college, and in the NBA. Jeff was, again, a consistent, 15, 16 point per game scorer. Had some 14 points per game season, point per game seasons. He averaging 14, 15, 16. That is nice in the NBA. Like, it's dudes in the NBA that ain't never averaged double digits. Never. 16, 15 a game, stuff like that. Especially, some about 10 years ago. That was really, really nice. Especially 10 years ago. Like, he was doing that 10 years ago. You know what I mean? And then he was an all-star. And I think, 2015? It was that year when the Atlanta Hawks was so good. Like, dang near the whole starting five was like really all-stars that year because they were so good, right? But yeah, I think Desean Jackson got stuff messed up. Desean was a great in his respective sport. He was an outstanding player, all of that. But listen, Desean Jackson not beating 10th grade, 9th grade Jeff Teague. He's not. He ain't beating Reggie Evans in a game of basketball. He not beating, I'm trying to think of a little small guard. He ain't beating Keon Doolin. He ain't beating Cam Payne. He ain't beating Denzel Valentine. I'm not a fat. Let's think of some guards. Let's think of some small guards. He ain't beating, I'm trying to think of some small guards. He ain't beating Leandro Barbosa. No little guards. JJ Barea. JJ Barea, he ain't beating them. Or, what's the dude, Peyton Pritchard? Whatever, what's the dude that played for the Boston Celtics? That's who Lou Will named. And Lou Will had a real good quote. He said, man, listen, it's different being in the water with that shark than seeing him on the Discovery Channel. That's a fact. Like, you can see a player on the court and think, oh, he ain't like that, he ain't that good. Fam, what? Brian Scalabrine will get some dudes some work out here on the court. Put him on the court with some dudes in the YMCA, some average Joes, some dudes that play football. He gonna kill them. It's different. It's levels to athleticism. It's not athleticism. It's levels to basketball. Period. You could be a superior athlete and not be able to contend with a Brian Scalabrine or I'm trying to think of a dude that's really not super athletic, but in but in the NBA, Boris Diaw wasn't supremely athletic, but highly skilled, right? Like, I'm looking like Desean, y'all got to stop, knock it off. That disrespect is getting out of control, but I think it's because Jeff often makes fun of himself, and he's lighthearted, and he don't mind cracking a joke on himself, to where people start thinking he really wasn't that good. And it's like, no, fam. No. Double-digit scorer consistently throughout his career. Majority of his career, he was 14, 15, 16 a game. And you got to be a certain type of player of a certain type of ilk to do that against the talents he was playing against on a night in, night out basis. He playing point guard when the point guard spot was heavy. Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, Darren Williams, Stephen Curry. Like, he playing them dudes, man. John Wall. He playing, I'm trying to think of some other point. Kyrie Irving. He playing guards like that on a night in, night out basis. You think he don't have a problem with Desean Jackson, dog? And Desean couldn't dream of contending with those dudes that I named or playing against them. Like, he couldn't dream of playing against them dudes. For real. Like, I'm thinking about it like, man, no. Can you imagine Desean Jackson versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, or Desean Jackson against, like I said, a young D Rose, a young John Wall, a young Russell Westbrook, a young Kyrie Irving. Well, Kyrie still is kind of young, but you know what I mean, right? Early in Kyrie's career. What? It's been over with, man. It had been over. And I'm missing a lot of guards right now off the top of my head, but it's like, what are you talking about? Even a young little Terry Rozier or something. He getting cooked. Getting cooked, sauteed, deep fried, air fried, boiled, broiled, grilled. It don't matter. So, yeah, I just think that people start looking at these dudes on these podcasts, joke and play, and think they really aren't that good. But I'm like, DJ, cut it out, man. Don't be trying to be disrespectful to Jeff. That's when it started getting out of hand, because football players hate when you disrespect them. They hate if you try to make it seem like you can play against them and do what they do. Nah, fam. And the way he did it, though, he like if Jeff Teague was out there, because he said specifically, he cool, but I didn't see him play too much. I'm like, cuz doing that, bro, I could play in the NBA. No, you couldn't. You ain't better than Kirk Heinrich. Kirk Heinrich would be out there cooking D-Jack. Kirk Heinrich, remember TJ Ford back in the day? Man, what? Like, matter of fact, Raymond Felton, Ty Lawson, them. I'm naming guards that were really pretty nice, but I'm trying to think of some guards that came off the bench for teams. John Lucas III, the one LeBron jumped over. What? He cooking D-Jack any day of the week. So, yeah, man, boys be out there, man. Shout out to Jeff Teague, man. He probably got one of the most entertaining podcasts on YouTube, period. But in sports, for sure, for damn sure. And I always like listening to his story times. He got Derrick Rose coming on there soon too, so I want to see what my Chicago brother got to say, got to talk about or whatever, especially after the announcement of his retirement. But anyway, man, Machiavelli Mills TV, y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm out. Peace.